Hi, Bruce. My name is Mackenzie Sachs, and I'm a social work student at the University of Louisville. I'm currently in my senior year of my bachelor's in social work program, and as part of my education, I'm completing a year-long practicum at LifeSpring where I have the opportunity to apply what I've learned in a real-world setting. In my practicum, I help clients with case management, facilitate group sessions, and assist with various support services. This exercise is important for, developing my skills as a generalist social worker, and it helps me gain hands-on experience that will help me serve diverse populations effectively. So before we begin today, I'd like to briefly explain what we'll be doing. We'll be talking a little bit about what's going on in your life right now so I can get to know you more and better understand your current needs and how I can support you moving forward. This process will take about 30 minutes and it will involve me asking a series of questions and then determining what will be best for you as far as services go. I'll guide you through each step, and if you have any questions at any point, please don't hesitate to ask. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds okay. I mean, I don't know where to start, but yeah, I'm here, so let's try it.
Absolutely, Bruce. We can go at your own pace, and you can share as much or as little as you're comfortable with. First, let's start with you telling me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a freshman in college right now, and I just turned 18 in March, so I'm still kind of adjusting to being an adult. But it feels weird. I've been in foster care system since I was 4, which is pretty rough, and I don't remember much from it, but I've gotten some scars from it. When I moved around a lot, I never really had a permanent home until I was about 16. That's when I got adopted, but the people who adopted me, they were a really great couple, and they have been super supportive. And I've been with them for about 2 years now, and they've been amazing. Like, they genuinely care about me. But now that I'm older, I've just been trying to figure out where I kind of fit in this world, and college has just been harder than I thought it was going to be.
Right.
With all the pressure of school and trying to figure out my future, I've been kind of feeling lost. And on top of that, my dad, my real dad, kind of just showed up out of nowhere, and it's just a lot to process right now.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Bruce. It sounds like you've been through a lot in your life, moving through the foster care system, finally finding a permanent home, and now navigating college and adulthood. I can imagine it must feel overwhelming at times, especially with everything changing. And on top of that, having your biological dad show up must really stir up a lot of emotions and feelings. It's understandable that all of this would leave you feeling uncertain and even maybe a little lost. I want to acknowledge your strength in handling everything you've been through, though. I'm really glad you're here today to talk about it. You've been through so many transitions, and it makes sense that you have mixed emotions and feelings about where you are now. Would you like to tell me a little bit more about what it's been for you like recently, especially with the stress of college and your biological dad?
Yeah, I guess I'm kind of angry with them. I mean, it just shows up now after all these years. I don't get it. Part of me feels like maybe I should let him in and try to understand why he left and why he's back now, but it's just hard. I don't even want to let him in. I've already got parents, my adopted parents. They've been there for me in ways that he never was, and now I'm worried that if I even think about giving them a chance, it's like I'm betraying them or something. Does that make any sense? I mean, I don't know how they'd really feel about it, and I don't want them to feel like they're hurt or that they're not enough. With all that going on, I'm just distracted. I've been missing deadlines and getting behind in classes, and I never really had problems with school before, but now it kind of feels like I can't keep up at all. And honestly, I've been going out a lot more, partying with friends, and I don't know. I know it's not the best way to kind of deal with these things, but it's the only way I could shut my brain off. You know?
Yeah, that's a lot. Again, thanks for continuing to share with me, Bruce. It sounds like you're navigating some really challenging feelings right now. On one hand, there's this anger and maybe even confusion about your biological dad reappearing. And on the other, there's loyalty and care for your adoptive parents who have been there for you. It's completely natural to feel torn, especially when you don't want to hurt the people who supported you the most. And also, it sounds like this stress is affecting other parts of your life, like school, which must be so frustrating for you. And I hear that partying has become a way to escape those overwhelming thoughts, even if it's just for a while. Sometimes when things feel, heavy, it's easy to turn to anything that provides quick relief. Would it be okay if we took some time to explore these different feelings and concerns together? That way, maybe we can find ways to help you feel more in control of everything that's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's not the healthiest thing, but honestly, the partying and drinking, it just kind of takes the edge off. It's like, for a while, I can just forget about all the stuff with my dad, and I really feel so overwhelmed. I don't know if I'm ready to give that up. It feels good in the moment, and I'm not sure if there's anything else that would work as fast or that makes me feel that kind of relief. I get that it's probably not helping me with school, but it's hard to think about stopping when it's the only thing that gets me from not losing it right now.
Yeah. So thank you for being open about that, Bruce. I can hear how much relief the partying and drinking brings to you in those moments, and it makes complete sense why you'd want to hold on to something that helps you escape, even if it's just for a while. It sounds like you're in a tight space where the immediate relief is really important to you. We don't have to make any big changes right away, but maybe if you're open to it, we could explore some small additional ways to manage that stress, just to see if there's anything that might work alongside what you're doing now. And it's totally okay if you're unsure about other options. We can take it slow to find ways to support you that feel more you and helpful for where you are right now. How does that sound?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely unsure right now. I mean, I've got a lot going on already, and I don't want to feel like I'm adding even more pressure. If we're going to look at any other options, it's got to be at a slow pace. Like you said, I don't know if I can promise to keep up with everything. Some days I'm just barely getting by as it is.
And that makes complete sense. Going slow is so important, especially with everything that you're handling right now. If it's all right with you, maybe we could look back or think back to a time that you can remember you had something that helped you manage your stress. Are there any habits or activities or even people that have helped you feel a bit more grounded when things got tough?
I really can't think of anything that's helped before. I mean, I guess I've always just kind of pushed things to the back of my mind. really just try to ignore them. But it's like, if you don't think about it, it can't really bother me. But with my dad showing up, it's harder to just shove it all down. It's like, it's always there. And no matter what I do, I can't get it off in my head.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like you've relied on pushing things aside as a way to cope, and that makes a lot of sense, especially with all you've been through. But sometimes those feelings can start to pile up, and...
Wait, actually, I just remembered something. When I was younger, I used to write my feelings out on paper, and then I'd rip it up afterwards. It kind of felt like it was a way of getting rid of whatever was bothering me. Is that something you were thinking about?
Yes, Bruce, that's exactly along the lines of what I was thinking. Writing down stuff about what you're feeling can be a powerful way to process those emotions and help eliminate them from your mind. And I think it's great that you found it helpful in the past. The act of tearing up the paper sounds like it added a sense of release or letting go. Would you be open to trying that again as a way to handle some of the feelings coming up around your dad and everything else going on?
I mean, does it sound childish? I mean, I'd write stuff down, and whatever I was mad about, I'd just rip them up like I was throwing it all away. I really don't know if it would help now, though. Things feel a lot more complicated than it did back then.
I get it. I can see how you would feel like it could be a little bit childish. But, sometimes even the simplest methods can be so surprisingly effective. Writing can give you a way to release those thoughts without needing to act on them immediately. It's not about being perfect or making sense of everything all at once. It's just about giving yourself the space to express whatever's on your mind. And you don't even have to tear the paper up either. You can keep it and look back on it when you feel ready, or throw it away or do whatever. The most important thing is finding a way that feels like it. The most important thing is finding a way that feels relieving to you, even if it's something that feels small. Does that sound like something you might be willing to try again, even just to see if it helps?
I guess I could try it. I mean, it wouldn't hurt, right? If it doesn't work, at least I tried. I think it might be worth giving it another shot, especially if it can help me deal with some of the stuff without having a drink.
Good. That's a really positive first step, Bruce. Giving writing another try could definitely help you process some of the feelings you're feeling. But it's also important to remember that it may not solve everything, especially when it comes to drinking. Writing might help for a while, but it may not be enough to completely replace the quick relief you get from alcohol. There are other coping strategies we can explore too. Things like mindfulness and physical activity, or even talking to someone when you're feeling stressed might be helpful as well. It's about building a toolbox of strategies, and we can take it slow, step by step. Does that sound okay to you?
Yeah, you're right, Mackenzie. I can see how writing up might help for a while, but it probably won't fix everything. I'm willing to look at other strategies too if you have any. I know I can't keep relying on drinking to cope, even if it does give me some quick relief. If there are other things I can try, I'm open to it. It just feels hard to make a change, but I guess I have to start somewhere.
That's right, yeah. And I'm so happy that you're recognizing that, Bruce. It's a huge step to be open to other strategies, even if it's hard to make that change. And you're right, taking it slow is so important. But for now, writing might be a helpful first step, and you can see how it feels. As we continue working together, we can build more strategies and add tools to your toolbox. And it doesn't all have to change at once. But with time, we can find what works best for you and what kind of helps replace those other feelings you're having in a healthy way. How does that sound to you?
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I'm willing to give writing a try, but honestly, I'm still just so confused about what to do with my dad. I just can't figure it out. One part of me wants to get to know him, but then the other part of me is just so angry. I don't trust him. It's like I don't even know what I'm supposed to feel or how to even handle a situation like this.
I'm really glad you brought this back up, Bruce. It sounds like you're carrying a lot of conflicting emotions about your biological dad right now. Anger, confusion, and guilt. It's understandable. It's hard to know what to do when you feel like you're being pulled in so many different directions. I think it would be good to explore this a little bit more. What specifically feels most confusing to you about this situation? What's the hardest part for you?
I guess the hardest part for me is just trying to figure out why now. Like, why is he just not showing up after all these years? I've spent so much time trying to build my life without him, and now it just feels like he just comes in and acts like nothing ever happened. I don't even know what to say to him. Part of me wants to tell him how angry I am, but then I think, what if I hurt him?
Mm-hmm.
And there's other part of me that wonder if maybe that could be too hard on him. Like, maybe he's changed, but then I think about everything he's missed, and I feel like I'm supposed to be mad. If it's a mess.
Yeah. It sounds like you're feeling really torn, Bruce. There's anger and guilt, and you're mad because of everything your dad missed out on, and you're having some hesitation about how to react to him now. That's a lot of conflicting emotions to try and navigate and get through. You spent so much of your life without your biological dad, and now you know he's come back into the picture, and you don't know if you're ready. But it's not simple, is it? There's that uncertainty about whether he's changed or if he's really ready to be there for you. Does that sound right?
Yes, exactly. It's like I just want to ignore him and move on with my life, but then there's another part of me that wonders if I should at least try to let him in. I don't even know what I would expect from him, though. It just kind of feels like so much to think about. I don't even want to disappoint anyone, especially my adoptive parents. They've always been there for me, and I don't want them to think I'm choosing him over them. But at the same time, I can't just act like my real dad doesn't exist.
Right. I get what you're saying. And it's completely okay to not have all the answers right now, Bruce. This is a big situation, and it's normal to feel conflicted and feel like you're being pulled in a whole lot of different directions. Taking the time to really explore what feels right for you without feeling rushed or pressured is very important. There's no need to have everything figured out today. It's a process, and it's about what will be best for you, not just now, but in long term. And you don't have to decide everything at once. You can take small steps, maybe just seeing how it feels to even think about a relationship with your biological dad, and then check in with yourself and see how that sits with you. this doesn't have to be something you decide right away or all at once. Does that feel like a helpful way to approach it, maybe?
Yeah, that actually makes sense, I guess. I haven't really thought about it like that. I've been putting so much pressure on myself to decide, but maybe taking it slow would make it easier. It's just hard because I feel like I owe people answers, you know? Like,
Yeah.
my adoptive parents deserve to know how I feel about them.
Mm-hmm.
And even my real dad. I feel like he's waiting on something from me. But, yeah, maybe giving myself some time to figure it out would take some of the pressure off my shoulders.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in this type of situation, it's good to hold off and just take a breather and weigh all your options and do something that you think is going to be best for you. And, as we start to wrap up today, I think we should just talk about, some of the stuff we went over. You shared really important stuff about, your feelings with anger and some of the guilt that has come up in your life with your biological father returning. And we also discussed how that's been affecting other areas of your life, like school and stress. And you also recognize that you've been using drinking as a quick escape, but you're open to trying other ways to cope.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Everything that you've said so far has shown me stuff that I haven't even thought about myself, and honestly, it's been really good to talk to somebody about this. It's been dwelling on my mind a lot recently, and I really needed this help.
Yeah, of course. That's what I'm here for. And so, before our next session, I want to give you some homework. And we're going to try and see if you can implement your past journaling skills and try and see if, writing down some stuff and journaling will, help with some of the emotions you're having. And then if you feel like tearing them up, then that's awesome. If you don't, then that's awesome too. It's just a tool that could possibly help relieve some of the weight you've been carrying. Just take it at your own pace and see how it feels, and then we'll see what else we can focus on if it's not good. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I need to give it a shot. It's a lot to process, and definitely a step in the right direction. After this, I'm probably going to have to go buy a journal because I have a lot to write down.
Well, I have a journal I could give to you. You don't have to go buy one. I have an extra one. But you're right. It is so much to process. It's not easy trying to, explore your mind and explore your feelings. And I think you're doing it shows a lot that you are able to come and, sit down and talk to someone about what's going on and willing to, get that extra help to help you guide yourself in that direction. I think it's really good. And also, I think the next time we meet again, we can also talk about your feelings with your dad, your biological dad, and just dig deeper into that.
After I talk to them or after I write it down?
Well, I mean, that's honestly up to you. You can, if you feel like you're ready to talk to him before the next session, then go ahead and we will talk about how that went. If you're not, then we can maybe just explore a little bit more about what you're feeling internally about the situation and go from there. How does that sound?
How would I even approach a situation like that?
Well, I want to just bring you back to what we talked about earlier in the session about how, just taking it one step at a time, going slow. You don't have to do everything now, right?
Yeah.
You can just focus on, if you feel like you need to talk to your dad right away, then just do it. And, I can't really tell you how to go about it, but because you'll know how to approach the situation if you're ready. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not ready, then you probably aren't going to approach the situation. So we can talk about more ways on how to, talk to your dad if that's something you really want to do. But it's totally up to you. And I think that's something that journaling will also help you discover a little bit more, dig deeper in with your own thoughts and,
Well, with that being said, let's say I approach this situation. Should I do it with my adoptive parents present at the time? Like, should it be like a group conversation or like more of a isolated one-on-one conversation?
Well, that's a good question. I think if you want someone to be present there with you, if it makes you feel more safe, then and your adoptive parents are okay with
going.
I
mean, like I just said, my father just recently came out of nowhere. Like,
mm-hmm.
I think I would feel safer if they were with me.
Well, then you should definitely ask them if they'd be willing to talk to you or go with you to talk to him. I think that's a good idea to ask them if what you are feeling is you feel like you should, reach out to your biological dad and talk to him, but you feel comfortable with someone else being there, then I think it would be a good idea to maybe ask your adoptive parents if they'd be okay with going with you to talk to him. I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you're going to try journaling before the next session, writing down what you're feeling, and then either tearing it up or you can keep them and bring them back and we can talk about them. And then we can also, maybe in the next session, we can talk about some other, tools for your toolbox that might be helpful. It might be more effective than just writing down stuff. It's all up to you. But just before the next session, I want you to try and do some journaling. If you do end up talking with your biological father, I want you to try journaling some of that too, just how it went, and so we can have something to guide us with our next session. Does that sound okay?
It does sound okay, because honestly at this point, it's really just been weighing down on my shoulders, and I need a better way to express my emotions and just to release what I have going on inside other than drinking, because I don't want it to become a problem, or I don't want it to become my personality.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you recognize that. And in the next session, we'll just dig a little bit deeper into your relationship with your dad, with your adoptive parents, and even your relationship with yourself, and what feels right for you moving forward. And this isn't something that you need to have all figured out. Seriously. Take it one step at a time, and I will be there along the way to help you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You've done a lot of important work today, and you've done a great job. Thanks, Bruce. I'll see you next time.
Okay, you have a good one.
Thanks. Bye.